colony on the planet was quiet in the early morning. Captain Daniel Hayes walked along the perimeter, his boots crunching on the dry ground. The air smelled of metal and dust. He looked at the horizon where the sky met the hills. Something did not feel right. His instincts told him that danger was coming. In the command hall, Queen Elizabeth Ward stood with her council. She was calm, but her eyes were sharp. Generals and advisors crowded around the long table. Maps were spread across the surface. Soldiers and scouts had reported strange movements near the borders. No one knew if it was just a small raid or the start of a bigger attack. Lieutenant Claire Evans entered the hall holding a datapad. Captain Daniel's scouts spotted a large force moving through the eastern plains, she said. Her voice was firm. It could reach the colony by nightfall if we do not prepare. Queen Elizabeth studied the maps. She traced the lines of the incoming force with her finger. We cannot let them reach us. We will strengthen the walls and organize the soldiers into defensive squads. Send scouts to gather more information. I want to know exactly how many are coming and what weapons they have. Her voice commanded respect. Everyone in the room felt her determination. Outside, the human soldiers worked quickly. They built barricades, repaired machines, and checked weapons. The air was filled with the sound of hammers and engines. Daniel moved among the troops, encouraging them. He knew fear could spread fast, but he also knew courage could grow even faster. As the sun climbed, scouts returned with news. Captain, the enemy is larger than expected, one scout said. They are well armed and moving fast. Daniel frowned. He had seen many battles, but this felt different. He sent a message to Queen Elizabeth. Prepare the entire colony. This is not a small raid. They are coming for us in full force. The Queen nodded when she received the message. She called a meeting with her trusted commanders. We will need every hand, every mind, and every weapon. This is a war for our survival. We must be ready to fight with everything we have. Her words spread through the colony like fire, reaching every soldier, every worker, every citizen who could pick up a weapon. By late afternoon, the first signs of the enemy appeared. Small groups moved across the hills, testing the defenses. Daniel led a squad to intercept them. The battle was quick, but fierce. Humans used their technology and tactics to push back the enemy. They had to make every shot count. Claire and her team set traps to slow down the attackers. Some soldiers fought hand-to-hand when the distance closed. Back at the command hall, Queen Elizabeth watched the monitors. She gave orders with precision, sending reinforcements where they were needed most. The humans were skilled and brave, but the enemy was relentless. Each small victory was paid for with hard effort and loss. As night fell, the battle slowed. The enemy pulled back to regroup, but the humans knew this was only the beginning. The first day had been a test, and the colony had survived. The walls were damaged, the soldiers were tired, but the spirit of humanity had not broken. Daniel walked along the perimeter once more. He could see the fires from the enemy camp in the distance. The sky was dark, and stars reflected on the metal surfaces of machines and weapons. He thought about the people who depended on him, the soldiers who trusted him, and Queen Elizabeth who led them all. He knew the war was just beginning, and every human would need to be ready to face the doom that was coming. Queen Elizabeth gathered her council again. We have survived the first day, she said. Tomorrow, we fight harder, we fight smarter, and we fight together. This colony will not fall. We are human, and we will defend our home no matter the cost. Her voice carried hope and courage. Everyone in the room felt it. They were ready for the next challenge. The night was long, filled with watchful guards and quiet preparation. Soldiers whispered words of encouragement to each other. Families prayed and hoped. The colony waited for the dawn, knowing that the War of Doom was only beginning, and the fate of humanity rested on their strength and unity. The next morning, the sun rose over the colony with a faint red glow. Captain Daniel Hayes and his squad prepared for the next wave of enemy soldiers. The previous battle had left them tired, but there was no time to rest. Every human in the colony knew that survival depended on their courage and speed. Lieutenant Claire Evans checked her weapons and supplies. Her team was ready to move to the outer plains to slow down the enemy. Before they reached the main walls, Claire had a sharp mind for strategy and a fearless heart. She led her soldiers through the rocky terrain, hiding behind hills and trees to strike at the enemy when they were least expecting it. The first clash of the day happened quickly. Enemy soldiers charged down the slopes toward the humans. Daniel signaled his team, and the defenders opened fire. Bullets and energy blasts lit up the sky. Humans moved with precision, taking cover and striking back. Every shot had to count because the enemy had more soldiers than they had imagined. In the chaos, Claire and her squad set traps along the enemy path. Large nets fell from the hills, and explosive charges delayed the enemy advance. Some humans had to fight hand-to-hand when the distance closed. They hit with fists, sticks, and metal rods. Even the smallest soldiers showed courage. The enemy underestimated the humans, and that mistake gave the humans an advantage. Back at the command hall, Queen Elizabeth Ward watched the battle unfold. She gave orders to deploy reinforcements where the enemy was strongest. Her voice was calm but firm. She coordinated the machines and soldiers with precision. Humans had learned to fight together, and their teamwork was becoming their greatest strength. As the fight continued, Daniel spotted a group of enemy soldiers trying to flank the humans from the left side. He ran with his squad to block them. Bullets whistled past as they moved. Daniel shouted orders and pushed the enemy back. His team fought fiercely, and every human stood their ground. The battle was intense, and every second counted. Claire noticed that the enemy was using fast vehicles to attack their weak points. She called for a squad of human engineers who had built a small cannon. The engineers moved quickly and fired at the vehicles, destroying them before they could cause serious damage. The humans had planned for every possibility, and their preparation saved many lives. Hours passed with continuous fighting. Humans were wounded, but they did not give up. Daniel saw young soldiers helping each other, carrying those who could not walk. He felt pride in the courage of his people. Every human soldier, man and woman, knew they were fighting for their home, their families, and their queen. The enemy began to retreat as the sun lowered. The humans had won this small battle, but they knew the war was far from over. Daniel and Claire returned to the command hall to report to Queen Elizabeth. "The enemy is stronger than we thought," Daniel said. "We slowed them down, but we cannot let them reach the main walls." Queen Elizabeth nodded. "We will prepare for the next wave. This is only the beginning. We fight smarter and harder. We'll protect this colony. Humans have faced danger before. We will survive this too." Her words gave strength to every soldier and citizen in the colony. At night, humans repaired walls, checked weapons, and planned the next strategy. Families stayed close, sharing hope and fear. The fires of the camp illuminated the determination on every face. The stars shone brightly above the colony, a silent witness to the courage below. Daniel and Claire stood on the walls, looking at the distant enemy camp. They knew more battles were coming. The humans had won a small victory today, but the War of Doom would test them further. They would need every skill, every ounce of courage, and the unbreakable spirit of humanity to survive what lay ahead. The human colony had survived the first attacks, but the enemy continued to advance. Captain Daniel Hayes and Lieutenant Claire Evans prepared for the next major battle. The enemy had regrouped and was moving toward Ironhold, the main fortress of the colony. Every human knew that if Ironhold fell, the colony would be lost. Queen Elizabeth Ward stood at the command center looking at the maps. She marked the enemy positions and planned the defense. "We will use every advantage we have," she said. "The walls are strong and our soldiers are ready. The enemy will not break us." The soldiers moved to their positions. Archers, snipers, and infantry lined the walls. Machines and cannons were ready to fire. Daniel checked the outer defenses, making sure traps were in place. Claire led a group to the hills surrounding Ironhold. They would ambush the enemy as they approached. The enemy appeared on the horizon, a long line of soldiers and machines. They moved fast and were well organized. Daniel blew a whistle, and the humans opened fire. Bullets and energy blasts lit up the battlefield. The humans had fewer soldiers, but they used their skills and strategy to hold the enemy back. Claire and her squad attacked from the hills. They used rocks, explosives, and traps to slow down the enemy. Some humans fought hand-to-hand when the enemy got too close. Daniel and his soldiers pushed back from the walls, fighting with strength and determination. Every human knew that their survival depended on courage. The enemy sent heavy machines to break the walls. Queen Elizabeth ordered the cannons to target them. Explosions shook the ground as humans aimed carefully. Machines fell one by one, and the enemy soldiers hesitated. Humans took every chance to strike back and force the enemy to retreat. Inside Ironhold, medics treated the wounded while soldiers replaced lost equipment. Daniel moved through the fortress, giving orders and helping where he could. He saw young men and women fighting with bravery beyond their years. Even the smallest acts of courage made a difference. Hours passed with continuous fighting. The sun burned hot in the sky, but the humans did not give up. Claire spotted a group of enemy soldiers trying to find a weak spot in the wall. She led a counterattack, surprising them and capturing several soldiers. This gave the humans valuable information about the enemy's strategy. Queen Elizabeth made a bold decision. She would lead a small team to destroy the enemy command post. The plan was risky, but if successful, it could turn the battle in their favor. Daniel and Claire agreed to go with her. They moved quietly through hidden paths, avoiding enemy patrols. The team reached the enemy post and set explosives. Queen Elizabeth gave the order to fire. The ground shook as the building exploded. The enemy soldiers were thrown into confusion. The humans took advantage of the chaos and pushed forward, driving the enemy back from the walls. By evening, the battle slowed. Humans had defended Ironhold successfully. The walls were damaged and many soldiers were hurt, but the fortress stood. Daniel, Claire, and Queen Elizabeth gathered the troops and gave words of encouragement. "We have survived the day," she said. "We fought as one. Remember this courage when the next battle comes." At night, humans repaired walls, tended to the wounded, planned for the future. Daniel and Claire looked at the stars, thinking about the challenges ahead. The enemy was strong, but the humans had shown they could fight together and overcome great danger. Ironhold was safe for now, but the humans knew the war was far from over. They had survived the siege, but the next attack would test them even more. Every human in the colony prepared for the coming days, ready to defend their home, their families, and their queen with every ounce of strength they had. After the defense of Ironhold, the humans needed to know more about their enemy. Captain Daniel Hayes and Lieutenant Claire Evans prepared a mission to capture one of the enemy officers. They needed information about the enemy plans and weapons. Queen Elizabeth Ward approved the plan and assigned a small elite team for the mission. The team moved quietly under the cover of night. They avoided enemy patrols and used hidden paths. Every step was dangerous, and one mistake could cost their lives. Claire led the way, guiding the team through rough terrain and enemy territory. Daniel stayed close, ready to fight at any moment. They reached the enemy camp and spotted an officer giving orders. The team moved in carefully. They overpowered the guards and captured the officer without raising alarms. Back at the command hall, the officer was questioned. Daniel and Claire watched closely as the officer revealed important details. The enemy planned to use a massive weapon capable of destroying the human colony. It was hidden deep inside their main base. The weapon was powerful, and if unleashed, it could end the war in favor of the enemy. Queen Elizabeth studied the information carefully and made a decision. "We cannot wait. We must strike before they use the weapon," she said. The humans began planning their attack on the enemy base. Engineers worked on machines and weapons, while soldiers trained for the difficult mission. Daniel and Claire led squads to prepare for the journey. Every human knew the risk, but they were determined to protect their home. The captured officer provided maps and layouts of the enemy base. This information allowed the humans to plan the attack carefully. They identified weak points and areas where they could strike quickly. Claire suggested using hidden passages to sneak inside, avoiding most of the enemy defenses. The team rehearsed the plan, practicing every step until it became second nature. Daniel and Claire emphasized teamwork and timing. "Every second counts," Daniel said. "We have to move together and protect each other." Meanwhile, the rest of the colony prepared for the attack. Soldiers built defensive positions, ready to hold the enemy if they discovered the strike team. Citizens helped repair walls, prepare supplies, and care for the wounded. Every human had a role in the fight. The night before the mission, Daniel, Claire, and Queen Elizabeth met in the command hall. "This is our chance to end the threat," Queen Elizabeth said. "We fight for everyone in this colony. We fight for humanity." At dawn, the strike team moved out. It crossed dangerous lands, avoiding enemy patrols and traps. The terrain was rough, with rocks and forests making movement difficult. Every step was tense, and silence was necessary. They could hear distant sounds of enemy activity, reminding them of the danger that surrounded them. As they approached the enemy base, they saw guards and machines patrolling. Claire signaled the team to hide and wait for the right moment. Using the secret passages, they entered the base quietly. Inside, they moved quickly and efficiently, neutralizing guards and avoiding detection. The humans reached the weapon. Engineers examined it and started setting explosives to destroy it. Daniel and Claire kept watch, making sure no enemy soldiers found them. The tension was high, but the humans remained focused and calm. When the explosives were ready, Queen Elizabeth gave the signal from a safe distance. The weapon exploded, destroying the enemy's main advantage. The enemy soldiers were thrown into confusion. Humans took advantage of the chaos, pushing forward and gaining control of key areas inside the base. By the end of the mission, the humans had succeeded. The enemy weapon was destroyed, and the humans had gathered valuable information about enemy plans. Daniel, Claire, and Queen Elizabeth returned to the colony. They were tired, but they had achieved a great victory. Back in the command hall, Queen Elizabeth addressed her soldiers. Today we struck a powerful blow against the enemy. We have shown that humans are strong, brave, and united. We will continue to fight, and we will protect our home from anyone who threatens it. Her words inspired hope and courage in every human who heard them. The colony celebrated the success quietly. They repaired walls, treated the wounded, and prepared for the next challenges. Humans had shown that intelligence, teamwork, and courage could overcome even the greatest threats. The War of Doom was far from over, but the humans had proven that they could face any challenge and survive. The human army prepared to march toward the enemy stronghold. Captain Daniel Hayes and Lieutenant Claire Evans led the front squads. Queen Elizabeth Ward gave final orders from the command hall. The enemy base was far across dangerous lands filled with rough terrain and unpredictable weather. Every human knew the march would test their endurance and courage. Soldiers carried heavy weapons and supplies. Engineers pushed small machines designed to break enemy defenses. Scouts ran ahead, checking the path and reporting any dangers. Humans moved in silence, knowing that the enemy could attack at any moment. As the humans advanced, they faced their first challenge. Rocky Valley blocked their way. The enemy had placed traps to slow any approaching army. Daniel and Claire carefully led the soldiers through the valley. Explosions and rocks tested their patience, but humans worked together and moved forward step by step. During the march, the soldiers shared stories and encouraged each other. Young men and women spoke of their homes, families, and dreams. These moments reminded everyone why they fought. Courage grew among the humans as they moved closer to the enemy's stronghold. On the third day, the humans encountered enemy patrols. Daniel signaled his team to hide. They waited until the patrol was near and then attacked. The fight was short but intense. Humans captured some enemy soldiers and learned about the defenses ahead. Every small victory boosted morale and strengthened the army. Claire discovered secret paths that led closer to the enemy base. These paths were dangerous, with steep cliffs and narrow ridges, but they allowed the humans to avoid the main enemy forces. She led the soldiers carefully, ensuring no one fell or got left behind. Daniel stayed by her side, ready to face any attack. As they approached the enemy fortress, the weather turned harsh. Strong winds and storms slowed the march. Humans had to fight not only the enemy, but also the environment. They built temporary shelters and kept watch in shifts. Every human understood the importance of patience and teamwork. During the night, the humans set traps along the paths to the enemy base. Engineers placed explosive charges and nets to slow enemy movements. Soldiers practiced drills and reviewed the plan for the attack. Daniel reminded everyone, we must move together and protect each other. Every second counts. The humans also faced moments of fear and doubt. Some soldiers worried about the strength of the enemy. Others feared losing friends in the coming battles. Queen Elizabeth sent messages of encouragement, reminding them of their courage and the importance of protecting their colony. Her words inspired hope and determination. As the humans reached the final approach to the enemy fortress, scouts reported heavy enemy activity. Machines and soldiers moved along the walls, preparing for defense. Daniel and Claire quickly adjusted the plan. They decided to split the army into multiple squads, attacking from different directions to confuse the enemy. The humans moved quietly into position. Each soldier understood their role and the importance of timing. Engineers prepared equipment to breach the walls, while soldiers got ready for hand-to-hand combat. The atmosphere was tense, but humans were focused and united. Before the attack, Daniel and Claire looked at the fortress and the army within. They knew the coming battle would be dangerous, but they also knew that humans had survived impossible odds before. They shared a nod of determination. Together with Queen Elizabeth and the human army, they would face the enemy and fight for their home. The night was silent, except for the wind and distant sounds of the enemy. Humans rested briefly and checked their weapons. Every soldier felt the weight of the mission, but also the pride of being part of a brave and united army. The march to doom was almost complete. Humans were ready to strike the enemy stronghold with courage, skill, and determination. The human army reached the gates of the enemy fortress. Captain Daniel Hayes and Lieutenant Claire Evans led the soldiers to their positions. Queen Elizabeth Ward gave the final orders from a hill where she could see the battlefield. The humans were ready for the epic battle that would decide the fate of the colony. The enemy soldiers were waiting. Machines and weapons lined the walls, prepared to repel the humans. Daniel signaled the attack. Cannons fired, and the air was filled with smoke and explosions. Humans moved quickly, using cover and strategy to push forward. Every human soldier knew they had to fight with skill and courage. Claire led a squad to climb the walls from the side, taking enemy soldiers by surprise. They fought hand to hand, using weapons and their strength. Daniel charged with the front squad, breaking through enemy lines. Explosions shook the ground as humans and enemy soldiers collided in fierce combat. Queen Elizabeth directed reinforcements, sending squads to weak points in the enemy defense. Engineers operated machines that could crush walls and destroy enemy equipment. The humans worked together, using teamwork and intelligence to gain the upper hand. Each victory on the battlefield gave them hope and courage. The enemy tried to counterattack with heavy machines and fast squads. Daniel faced a group of enemy leaders who tried to break the human line. He fought with skill and strength, pushing them back. Claire coordinated with her squad, taking out enemy snipers and disabling machines. Humans used strategy and courage to fight against the enemy force. Inside the fortress, Queen Elizabeth led a team to destroy the enemy command center. The team moved quickly and avoided enemy patrols. They planted explosives to weaken the enemy control. When the explosives went off, confusion spread among the enemy soldiers. Humans used the chaos to their advantage, attacking from multiple directions and forcing the enemy to retreat.
Oh, the battle was fierce.
Humans fought through smoke, fire, and debris. Soldiers encouraged each other and helped the wounded. Every human knew the importance of protecting their home. Even the youngest soldiers showed bravery, fighting with courage beyond their years. The humans' determination was stronger than the enemy's strength. Daniel spotted the enemy general trying to regroup his forces. He led a small squad to confront the general. The fight was intense and dangerous. Daniel used every skill he had learned in previous battles. With the help of his squad, they defeated the enemy general, breaking the spirit of the enemy army. Claire and her squad destroyed enemy weapons and machines along the walls. They removed traps and cleared the way for more humans to enter the fortress. Queen Elizabeth coordinated the final push, sending squads to capture key points. The humans moved with precision and courage, overwhelming the enemy. By evening, the humans had taken control of the fortress. The enemy army was defeated, and their machines were destroyed. Daniel, Claire, and Queen Elizabeth gathered the soldiers to celebrate the victory. The battlefield was scarred, but humans had survived. Their courage, teamwork, and determination had won the day. Queen Elizabeth addressed the soldiers. "We fought as one, protected our home, and showed that humans are strong and brave. Remember this victory, for it proves that together we can face any challenge." The soldiers cheered, proud of their achievement and the survival of their colony. At night, humans repaired walls, tended to the wounded, and secured the fortress. Daniel and Claire looked at the stars above, thinking about the battles they had fought and the lives they had saved. The humans had faced a great threat and won, proving that courage and unity could overcome even the strongest enemy. The War of Doom had reached a turning point. The humans had shown that they could fight, survive, and protect their home. The colony was safe for now, but Daniel, Claire, and Queen Elizabeth knew that vigilance and courage would be needed in the days ahead. Humans had won the battle, and their spirit had not been broken. After the epic battle, the humans began to rebuild their colony. Captain Daniel Hayes, Lieutenant Claire Evans, and Queen Elizabeth Ward walked among the soldiers, checking on the wounded and encouraging everyone. The fortress had been damaged, but the humans had survived. Their courage and teamwork had won the War of Doom. The first days were hard. Humans repaired walls, fixed machines, and cleaned the battlefield. Engineers worked day and night to restore the fortress. Soldiers carried supplies, rebuilt defenses, and helped the injured. Every human had a role, and every action mattered. The sense of unity was strong, and it gave everyone hope. Daniel moved through the colony, speaking to soldiers and citizens. He thanked them for their bravery and reminded them that their courage had saved many lives. Claire helped organize teams to guard the perimeter and maintain safety. She encouraged the young soldiers, teaching them that their strength and intelligence were key to survival. Queen Elizabeth held a meeting with her council. They discussed strategies to prevent future attacks. They planned patrols, training programs, and stronger defenses. She wanted to ensure that humans would always be ready to defend their home. Her leadership inspired confidence and determination in everyone around her. A ceremony was held at the central square of the fortress. Families, soldiers, and citizens gathered to remember the brave men and women who had given their lives. Daniel, Claire, and Queen Elizabeth stood together, paying respect and promising to protect the colony in their memory. Life slowly returned to normal, but humans never forgot the lessons of the war. Training continued, walls were strengthened, and machines were upgraded. Humans knew that threats could return at any time. They worked together to prepare for the future, confident in their ability to face any challenge. Daniel and Claire often patrolled the borders, making sure the colony remained safe. They discovered new areas for defense and helped train the soldiers in advanced strategies. Their presence reassured everyone that humans were strong and capable. They reminded everyone that courage and teamwork could overcome even the greatest dangers. Queen Elizabeth inspired the humans with speeches about hope, courage, and unity. She told stories of battles and bravery, encouraging young men and women to be strong and smart. Her leadership strengthened the spirit of the humans and reminded them why they fought. She emphasized that humans must always protect each other and their home. Months passed, and the colony flourished. Humans cultivated land, repaired machines, and rebuilt homes. The fortress became a symbol of strength and determination. Daniel, Claire, and Queen Elizabeth worked tirelessly to maintain peace and safety. Their dedication inspired the humans to continue their efforts with pride and courage. Humans looked to the stars, remembering the dangers they had faced and the victories they had won. They felt a sense of pride in their resilience and courage. The War of Doom had tested them, but it had also proven that humans could survive, fight, and protect their home against any enemy. The story of the war became a legend in the colony. Daniel, Claire, and Queen Elizabeth were remembered as heroes who led humans through impossible odds. Their bravery, leadership, and intelligence inspired generations to come. Humans learned that with courage, teamwork, and determination, they could face any challenge and win. At night, the humans looked at the stars with hope. They knew that the future might bring new dangers, but they were ready. They had survived the War of Doom, and their spirit was unbroken. Together, humans would defend their home, protect each other, and continue to thrive as a strong and united community. The colony had survived, and humanity had proven its strength once more.